Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to podcast number 33, the Game Edition. And you know what that means. It's time for the 17th annual Salute to the Game Luncheon, which will be held at the Galt House on Thursday, September 26th. Rich, Jay, welcome.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
So we have Jay Hillebrand, Chair and Chief Executive Officer of Louisville-based Stockyards Bank and Trust Company, and as always, Mr. Rich Lecklider, the President of the Foundation. Jay, we are super excited about the annual football rivalry game with St. X and Trinity. High schools, obviously. And thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about the relationship between the bank and the foundation.
Sure. It goes probably a couple of decades or more back. When they first had their first dinner event, which was, I think, probably a couple hundred people to what it is now, over 1,000, raising an incredible amount of money for kids for education. And so we've been involved a long time and seen it grow. And, of course, Rich Lecklider gets involved in something, watch out.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
been amazing what he and Julie and the team have continued to build. They're not slowing down. And so you want to be behind that service culture that is part of the Catholic Education Foundation, is a big belief of Stockyards Bank.
We're going to get to that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But so this year, Stockyards is serving as the lead sponsor of the 17th annual Salute to the Game Luncheon.
Yep.
With an investment of a whopping $40,000. Rich, how awesome is that?
That's pretty awesome. We're super thankful to the bank. Jay and I are good friends and have been for a long time. And David Heitzman, before him, was obviously a great supporter of this organization as well. So that relationship's gone on for decades, and we're thankful for it. And I got to tell you, we all at our events, we have to have a lead sponsor, somebody that shows everybody the way, right? And we're God blessed at Stockyards. This year will be our lead sponsor. And let me tell you, $40,000. I'll tell you how much money that is. Okay, that investment alone will support this fall 35 kids.
35 kids.
Think about it. That's more. There's a classroom and a half of kids.
Yeah, that's great.
From one sponsorship. It's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. Rich, what year was the first dinner? Do you recall offhand?
1990.
1990. Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be our 35th coming up in March of 25. 35 years. And Jay's right. I mean, when we started this thing, the first event was small, a couple hundred people, too many honorees. I think we had more honorees than we had people in the crowd. And we actually lost $25,000. It was not at first a fundraiser.
It wasn't what it's for, sure.
And then and again, Stockyards has been with us all along the way for the dinner event as well. I mean, it's the most.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
It's the biggest event of its kind in the Commonwealth.
And I think this organization, we have wanted to get more involved, and that's rare for companies to say we want to get more involved and want to give more, and to be able to do it behind an event like this is an honor for us. And we've been wanting this for quite some time.
Yeah.
Well, and I mentioned a couple times, now we're in the 17th version of the lunch, and that has grown tremendously as well. Couldn't do that without St. X and Trinity High School. It's pretty amazing. I ran into actually I was playing golf in South Carolina and played golf with a gentleman who had been to the lunch probably 16, 17 years ago, and just ended up being paired with him in Myrtle Beach. It was kind of crazy. And we talked about the lunch and had a great time, and talked about, St. X and Trinity. It's amazing how deep that rivalry runs.
Oh yeah, all the way back to when Trinity was founded in the 1950s. Mm-hmm. And it's a ton of fun. It's become a community event as well. They play it every year at Cardinal Stadium, and it's a big deal for both schools. And I've been going to it for it seems like 100 years.
Right.
Put it on your calendar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hey, ever since, high school, before high school. So, Jay, you're a Catholic school kid.
Right.
Tell us about your family and how you grew up in Catholic schools.
Oh, wow. It's all around the Catholic school system, education. I'm one of 8 kids, born and raised here in Louisville. My parents over there in St. Matthews, all 8 of us went K through 8 at Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And then the 4 boys, we were going to St. X, which is where my dad went, and the 4 girls, Sacred Heart. And you didn't have a choice, and that was fine. You just did it. I remember my best buddy that lived down the street from me on Fairlawn, Brian Butler, who was going to Trinity. And I asked my dad one day, I said, Dad, can I, I'd like to go to Trinity. Now, part of that was, it's a mile away. Right. And I'm thinking,
right there.
I could sleep more.
Yeah, sure.
Or get on the Tark and go out to Poplar Road.
Sure.
And my dad paused and he said, son, 2 things will get you kicked out of this house. If you ever get an earring, and if you ever say that again. So that describes, that describes. Now, I have a son that graduated from Trinity, so I'm, equal.
Hey, you and I are in the same boat here. I'm a St. X grad, and I got a son going to Trinity, so I understand. But listen, both great institutions, right?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. And I've heard that. I was worried about it, honestly, and I've been very worried that my son's going to go to Trinity and me with my St. X ties, and you can't go wrong.
No.
I mean, it's both unbelievable leadership at both places, unbelievable teachers. Pretty cool experience for a kid that gets to go to one of those schools.
That's right.
Really, Rich, any of our Catholic schools.
Any of the Catholic schools, particularly, and the high schools. Look, I used to hear this all the time and see it all the time in my professional career before the foundation. Always put on your resume the fact that you went to St. X, you went to Trinity, you went to Assumption, you went to Sacred Heart. It means something to people that are looking for new employees. It matters.
Yeah. Especially in this town, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jay, you've had a long and very successful career in banking. Tell us about your career and the role that your Catholic education maybe has played in your success.
Sure. I mean, first, I love what I do. I think I was that nerd that always wanted to do something in my community and be a community banker. I started at a community bank, Citizens Fidelity, years ago before it obviously sold back in the 80s. Then I've been at Stockyards Bank and Trust for 28 years in September. I still do the math every year. Just I don't know how that's happened. I absolutely love it. It's great to be part of an 1,100 employee organization that's based here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Continue to grow, to serve our customers, to be able to serve our community. And that's a big deal to us, and to stay local and to stay headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky is something I'm very passionate about.
That's big to Louisville. I mean, that's it's a staple for Louisville.
It's huge.
Well, and our culture is similar to the culture I grew up in, which is based in my Catholic education and from my parents, and that's to give back to the community that helped raise me. And so service, make sure you're involved out in the community. Same thing with banking. You want to give back to the community that helps make you successful. And Louisville, Kentucky, the other communities we serve have definitely helped us. And so that value system is based in my upbringing and my education. So it's very similar at Stockyards Bank.
So you mentioned something earlier I want to hit on here. So you're one of 8 kids, is that right?
Yes.
Rich, it seems like everybody we bring on is from a huge family here. Jay, talk about the challenges that your parents had to face providing a Catholic school for 8 kids.
Oh, yeah. Food, education, cost, school activity cost, right? So everything we did was around the schools, whatever level we were. I was number 7, so I went to a lot of high school events when I was obviously a young person. But they gave up a lot. But my mother is always the one that said, you're part of a large family and you're going to be going to Catholic schools and you will always have what you need. We'll do anything to provide you what you need. And along the way, you're going to get some things you want. And that's always stuck with me. And I think a lot of people do a lot of things, volunteer at bingos, second and third jobs to make sure their kids have what they need to be successful. And my parents were huge in doing that because it's hard to put 8 plus 2, right? Parents, 10 people around that table. That table was our desk. My dad was an electrical contractor. That was a lot of business meetings with my brothers, and everything was around that table. And so it's been big.
That gives me chills. That's what a cool comment your mom had there.
Yeah.
All right, Rich. Let's get into the 17th annual Salute Luncheon event. Give us a quick history of the amazing event and kind of what this means to the foundation.
Yeah, our 17th year, and it's Phil McHugh, who a lot of people remember in this town, and
We had him on the podcast.
Yeah, the late John Asher, God rest his soul. They co-founded this thing out of some crazy idea in 2008. Hey, let's Phil. He's from out of town, didn't have a dog in the hunt, but he said, we got to celebrate this thing. This game. And he went to both schools. Both schools said, yeah, sure, help the foundation. Nobody knew it was going to grow to what it is. Nobody had any idea, right? So the first year, there's probably 400 or 500 people in the room. It made, $30,000 or something. And it was, it's a decent little fundraiser for the first year. And boy, has it taken off since. Yeah. In fact, last year, through 16 events, after we pay our expenses, this thing's made almost $5 million for the foundation. And last year alone was over $600,000. It was a record last year. So we're hoping to top that this year on the 26th of September. So we're selling tables fast. Sponsorships are up. I mean, I think we're going to set another record this year. We'll need to.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but what I find so cool about that event is I see people that I only see at that event.
Yeah.
At the lunch, right?
That's part of it. That's part of the draw is I haven't seen him in a year. I bet I'll see him at the game.
That's right, and I'll see him. Even it's hard. It's easy to miss people at a game because you got families and everything else. But at the lunch, it's just so cool because I'm seeing guys I went to high school with. I'm seeing guys that I played sports against or done business with, whatever it may be, and it's just such a cool atmosphere there.
Yeah, we're going to pack the Gold House Grand Ballroom. We have over 1,000 people there. Here's the really good news. It starts at noon. It's over at 1 on a stopwatch.
Hey,
okay?
Listen.
It's all timed.
That is not only is it time, that's like number one.
Yes.
You're out of there in an hour.
Right. He does.
Because if we go and we have this event and it goes an hour and a half, we're not going to have people come back.
Right.
Right? Because they know they're going to be in and out. Yeah. So that's a big deal. You're going to be in and out. You're going to get some good food.
Yeah, it's a big production.
Oh, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Jay, as you think about this event and the good thing it brings for our community, how does your sponsorship line up with your goals as a community bank?
Well, you give to the community. It comes back to you as a person individually as well as a company. So whether it's writing a check, whether it's your time, which we're big on, we believe in all of our employees getting involved in something that they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We are not a company that says go get involved and just sit around a table and not contribute. Get involved with something passionate about because you'll make a difference. And so we're big on that, and there's a lot of folks at the company that are very involved with this organization, Catholic Education Foundation.
So you also serve on the board of the foundation. What's that been like? Yeah,
so it's been a year under my belt. So that's the part of giving time, right? It's pretty darn easy to write a check if you can.
Sure.
But to make sure that I back that up for all my employees see me involved in the things our company believes in is part of our culture. And so it's been wonderful for me to be able to see how the sausage is made, like I thought, incredibly well, and to be able to give back with my thoughts of when they listen to me, my thoughts, and to help out in any way I can with my time.
So, Stockyards now has over 1,000 employees. Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea how many of them attended a Catholic school?
Besides saying a whole lot. No, we don't know the number.
It'd be a bunch.
I bet it's, I'm not going to say half, but I bet it's probably 400 to 500 of them.
Wow.
And, when we have the dinner, this luncheon, it's how many tables can we get? Because we have people asking to go.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big deal. And then when you get it to some of the high schools, we have been accused of hiring only people from St. X, but it's not true. We have a couple of folks from Trinity. I know that.
Just a couple.
Mike Yates would make sure I know. And John Ryan, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So, Rich, we're back to school. The Archdiocese schools are back in full swing. Are there still families who are reaching out to you hoping to get their child in a Catholic school?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing for us that I'm really proud of. The door always stays open. The window never closes. So we have deadlines and get your stuff in by this and that, like any other business does. But the window never closes. So we'll get a call almost every day from typically a mom who's whose kid is not doing well in school, perhaps, or they run into a financial difficulty and can't put it together.
Yep.
Death in the family, divorce, all those kinds of things happen every day. And people reach out to us and say, look, I want my kid to go to St. Stephen Martyr because my girlfriend says the greatest school ever. I've checked it out. I want to be a part of that. But you know what? I can't swing the tuition.
Yep.
And it'll be mid-September. It could be the middle of October. It could be any month of the year. We're going to answer that call. We're not going to say, oh, you missed the deadline. We're so sorry. We'll see you next year. We don't do any of that stuff. We're going to get on it right away. All they got to do is fill out an online application. It costs $30. And we're going to process that to see if they qualify for an award. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the answer is yes.
You bet.
You guarantee it. Jay, you mentioned something earlier. You said, so at the bank, you guys encourage your employees to get involved into something you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. We see your name all over town in the nonprofit world. Tell us some of the other causes that the bank supports through your leadership.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's so many organizations that we support. We ask that if our employees get involved in a meaningful way, we want to support that cause as well. And so whether it's St. Joseph Children's Home, there on Frankfurt Avenue, has got an incredible history, of course. Scouting program, we believe in the benefits, what it does for kids and preparing them for life. Home of the Innocents, one of our neighbors there in Nulu. Louisville Urban League, we've been very involved. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And for me, when people say, what's your hobbies? So I always say, besides working, community service is my passion. It's big. For my father was big on that, and it's stuck with me. And we're not always going to be here. And I want it to be known that I gave back, and with my spare time, that's what I did. And we fortunately have a lot of folks around the bank that feel the same way.
That's pretty awesome, and you're obviously showing that with your actions, which is really cool. It's not just words. So you've been with Stockyards for some time now. Can you remember the size of the organization when you first started and how it got to where it is today, which is an incredible growth? Yeah,
we were $300 million in assets. That's how banks rank themselves in assets. And it's 7 branches. And today we're $8.3 billion in assets and 73 branches. And we've grown from one branch there in Nulu to these 73 branches in Louisville, in the MSA surrounding the obviously Louisville proper, and then of course Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Lexington, and just Central and Eastern Kentucky. So it's been a lot of fun growth and doing it the right way, making sure we take care of the customer need in front of us first and not ours.
Is that the reason for the growth, do you think?
It is. There is a place. As my job as CEO, I believe I have to be able to look out 15 or 20 years and know that our style of banking, our style of business is relevant, and it has never been more relevant. And we see it constantly during downturns. The financial crisis in 08 and 09. This mobile app was great, but that cannot be your primary point of contact, right? We can all give you a loan when things are great, but when things are bad, banks are supposed to be able to be there to help you get through it. And so we are very proud that we were able to grow our company during that time. Of course, COVID and the PPP loan program was huge for a lot of our businesses. It saved a lot of businesses, and we went after it and to make sure So it's definitely relevant. People need people, and they need to talk, and when things are tough.
Great answer. So I've been told you have a special place in your heart for Bellarmine University. Obviously, you're an alum there. I was also told one of your favorite places in the world is the chapel there. Is that correct?
It is. It really is. It's a place of just peace, quiet, where I can go get centered. I don't know how else to say it. Whether it's professionally, even to think through things and just sit there and with my thoughts, just a spiritual place. And it helps center me in so many different ways, not just spiritually. It's a great chapel.
You visit it often?
I do, very.
That's really cool. All right, so this is the part where I want to give some value to our listeners, okay? So this question's for both of you guys. You've both accomplished a ton in your lives and your career. What advice would you give an 8th grader who's trying to chart their educational journey? Rich, why don't you go first?
Yeah, listen, I think, and we deal with young families day in and day out. And, look, when you're 13 or 14 years old, as I would tell my 4 kids, you really don't know much, okay? Mm-hmm. As a parent, I'm just going to tell you. And kids today I think are incredibly overwhelmed, mostly by the internet, mostly by the little device they have in their hand. And I think they're more anxious. I think they're more confused. I think they're kind of overloaded with information, more so than is maybe healthy. So I think for them, they struggle more than maybe I did when I was a kid, and we all had struggles, but I think life may have been a little simpler. And I think it's easy for our young people to be distracted.
Right.
There's a lot of things to kind of distract your mind from what you should be doing. And I think, quite honestly, it's harder for a kid today to develop a work ethic that can stick with them for a long period of time. The only real thing that does that is a great education. And look, I'll tell you, to be honest with you, in this community, unlike many others, the Catholic school system is off the charts. In so many ways. Yeah. There's so many measures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can go to a Catholic high school, not that that's the only place to go.
Sure.
But if that fits you, I'm telling you, the return on investment is off the charts. I'm not talking about financial. I'm not talking about career. I'm talking about life.
Yeah.
And think about this statistic, okay? If you start in kindergarten in any of our 39 Catholic elementary schools and you go all the way through grade 12 in a Catholic high school in the Archdiocese of Louisville, 96% of those kids go to a 2 or 4 year college. 96%. It's almost a guarantee
right.
You're going to get a great higher level education and really advance your life. Think about that. When you're 13 or 14 years old, you got other things to worry about. But if you can really get the kid on what I think is a really supreme pathway called Catholic high school, I mean, I've seen the miracle. I've lived it. It works. It truly works.
Jay, how about you?
I would tell them listen and learn and ask questions. I believe that we all need to listen more, and I think I had a teacher in grade school, Miss Honewinkle, 3rd grade teacher.
Okay.
Said you can learn, and my father used to say this too, you can learn more from watching someone who does something wrong than sometimes you can learn from somebody who did something right. Mm-hmm. Right? So you learn what not to do.
Right.
And being number 7, I had a brother right above me that taught me some things not to do.
Made that one pretty easy.
So no matter what it is, education, career, or what buttons not to push for mom and dad, listen, learn, and ask questions.
Great answer. Mm-hmm. So, Rich, it's folks like Jay and the team at Stockyards Bank that really propel the foundation and the thousands of families it supports. Jay, what would you say to other businesses in the Central Kentucky area about why the foundation's work is so important?
Yeah, I mean, we hear it. We hear it all the time. Hard to find employees, hard to find people to show up, that sort of thing. So that starts with education. That starts with making sure we can provide the kids in this community the proper education. So why wouldn't you?
Right.
Right? These are our future employees, our leaders of this community. Why wouldn't you? Why are we working so hard to improve this community if you're just going to leave it to somebody who's not? So make sure that we give back, make sure that we invest in programs like the Catholic Education Foundation that's going to make this a better place to live.
Rich, that's a pretty common theme. It's investing in your future employees, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. You look around this community. Jay's a good example, and there's so many others of folks that have gone to a Catholic school and that are the leaders of these large companies.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
Right.
And the rigor, the academic rigor, the discipline, what I'll call the accountability around learning, nobody does it better than Catholic schools.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Right.
Okay, so the game, it's set for Friday, September 27th at Cardinal Stadium. Any predictions on the outcome? We got a bunch of St. X grads here, but any predictions on the outcome here?
I'm going to say Trinity will lose by 6.
Ooh, okay. All right. Rich?
There you go.
St. X 17-10.
Listen, man, Trinity's defending state champs. They got
They
some
are.
guys coming back.
Yeah, great season last year. Wow.
Hey, they've got a receiver that's as good as anybody in the state. I don't know, Trinity, and that sophomore quarterback at Trinity is pretty special.
Yes.
I don't know. It's
Yeah,
gonna be interesting.
we got some stuff too.
Hey,
We're not going to tell you about it.
Understood. All right, Rich. The question that everyone's been waiting for: are we serving fried chicken and mac and cheese at the luncheon this year?
Well, absolutely. The answer is yes. Are you kidding?
Hey, the most important part to me is the sugar cookies and the shapes of the football.
Oh, yeah, we got them.
Oh, yeah, those are good. Stare at them all lunch.
I tend to steal a few of those.
You know, sometimes I'll call people to buy a table or do a sponsorship. You'd be surprised how many of them ask me, we have fried chicken this year now. We're going to have that? You got the fried chicken? Oh, yeah, we got the fried chicken.
Hey, man. Jay, you're the best. Deep thanks to you and your teammates for the enormous support that you bring to so many Catholic school families in need. And Rich, as every Catholic school family in need now knows, at the Catholic Education Foundation,
The answer is yes.
gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next month for podcast number 34.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Rich.
God bless.
Thank you all.